Welcome to BNN's class discussion. This is a chance for us to have a real discussion around real topics. Today's topic is young people and gun violence. According to KFF, firearm-related deaths have increased amongst children and adolescents since the pandemic. Based on the same research, firearm death is the highest among African Americans and males. Now let's introduce our panel to discuss this more.
Hello everyone, my name is Kimora Aiken and I am a senior communications and broadcasting major with a minor in political science. I'm excited to be here.
Hi, excuse me. Hope y'all are doing well. My name is Dallas Barnes. I am a junior communications major, and I'm glad to be here.
Hello everyone, my name is RJ Steadman, mass comm and journalism major. Happy for you guys to join us today.
What's up everybody? My name is Carzell Burnell. I'm a senior broadcasting and communications major from Charleston, and we're here to just chop it up.
All right, we want to thank everyone for joining us today. Let me first ask, have any of you have been impacted by violence or know a family member or a friend who has been impacted?
Yes, I have. I think like for us just being black, violence is something that's pretty prominent in our community, unfortunately. So for all of us, I'm sure we have like an experience. Me personally, I lost a friend to gun violence when I was 16. He was heavily in the streets, which I'm sure we'll talk about later on in this show, but it just shows that we have a lot of misguidance in who we choose to have as our leaders. Like, they don't really have guidance, and who we follow aren't really good examples to follow. And it shows in results like people dying at young ages. So I've definitely had somebody die of gun violence, for sure.
All right, Kimora?
I would say my cousin, his friend, he had passed away when we were our senior year of high school in the act of gun violence, and it was a very unfortunate situation. And just being able to like see that impact on our community, and also someone that I used to like kind of hang out with, not necessarily like adjacent friend group. Yeah. And it was just a very heartbreaking experience to like experience that, especially because in the area that we grew up in, it was the suburbs. So like just to have that in the suburbs is not a stereotypical place to kind of have that happen. Yeah. And
Dallas?
Well, I want to extend my condolences to both of y'all. Very sorry to hear that, very tragic. Gun violence, there was an incident when I was in high school. I was a junior in high school, and there was an incident at the school, and that incident led to three or four other incidents throughout, the city of Charlotte. And, it affects everybody. And it's a shame, and like we'll get into later, it's role models, parenting, and it's a list of issues. And also I think gun violence might not be, well, what I'm saying is gun violence might be more of a symptom of a bigger problem within our community. Mm-hmm. More than the main problem. Well, it's a problem, but
what do you think that bigger problem might be? There's a lot of problems that we go through that could be a bigger problem than gun violence. We got a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to discuss that later on. And I'd like to add, I as well have lost a friend to gun violence as well. Long live Antoine. We love you. We miss you. And we're just going to keep the conversation rolling. Now to the class discussion. What role, if any, does parental involvement play in gun violence amongst young people? You got it.
What the Bible say, train up a child in the way he should go, something like that. That is scripture. I think that's the answer to this question. I think parents should always make sure that their children is around the right things. They're responsible with their child, what they show their child. I think in the black community, a lot of parents grow up in the same community they raise their children in. So it's a lot of stagnant growth. Nobody's really like going out, living in new places, new cities. And so a lot of old habits are picked up by children of the new generation. And it's sad because parents have so much say-so genuinely what we do. However, they just allow us to be independent in the wrong things.
Now, I would like to add to that because like how I mentioned with my family being impacted by that, considering that we grew up in a safer type of neighborhood, like I don't always think that it's the parents. I maybe it may be the lack of attention that the parents are giving to the children, because you can grow up in a two-parent household, which some of us did have the opportunity to, or even a one-parent household and the parent is heavily involved in our lives, and the student is also, or not student, the child is also involved heavily in school and still end up picking up a gun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say the lack of attention that the parents may have within the child's life of them growing up. And I'll also add to what Carzell said about the type of environment that we're growing up in, exactly in our parents' environment. And a lot of these parents have guns within their houses, or they grew up with uncles or aunts that were involved in this type of gang violence or gun violence that they just experience, and it's just normal. Like, I know like little children that I had the opportunity to meet this summer, but they were like, yeah, I have a gun, I have this, I have that. They're like naming the types of guns. I'm like, how do you know this? And you're like 11 years old, you're 10 years old. Why do you know types of guns? And you have no business knowing these things.
I think it's a very big issue of a lot of parents are letting outside sources raise their children, essentially. Places like the internet. It's not just the internet, but we have to admit that a 12-year-old seeing and hearing certain things on the internet or even on TV or anywhere, they're going to process that differently than if a 19, 20, 21-year-old hears or sees these things. So it's just an issue of parents need to know what their children are getting into, who their children are hanging around, and they also, like, if your children, just talk to your kids, if you feel like, they've been listening to this certain thing or looking at this certain thing, be like, hey, how do you process this? How do you think about this in your head? And it's just a matter of open discussions in family settings. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, so also, I was introduced to guns because of, like, I grew up in the country, like, adjacent is the suburbs,
Facts.
okay?
Facts.
So, growing up in the country, like, being able to experience, like, a shotgun and stuff like that, it was a means of survival because you're hunting or, like, things like that. I feel like that's how some kids that aren't, like, of the minority end up growing up with hunting guns and things like that, and then they're introduced to, like, that harsher violence.
And to add on to what everyone on the panel said, I believe a lot of times these parents are best friends with their children, and like you guys aren't taking consideration of like what they're indulging. You got to be, especially in like today's time, you have like parents that are essentially babies themselves,
Yes, that's true.
So they're still growing up and becoming the mature parents that they want to be as well. So I think it's that balance of of growing up and still raising your child, but also like parents like living their life and doing the things that they need to do as well. So I just don't like seeing parents becoming their child's best friends. But we're gonna move on from that topic. Besides parents, music and culture is often blamed for the increase in daily violence. What do you guys' thoughts on that?
Oh my gosh, okay. I love music. I love the effects that music and just movies and any type of media that influences, especially Black culture. Because if you begin to look at it, it was curated to keep us in a type of mindset that we aren't allowed to escape. So like how there was one point where there was hip hop music and it was about, fighting against the man, it was about destroying the government, it was about uplifting us, it was about, it's like, you got Queen Latifah, like unity, like it was about bringing us together. And then at some point there was a switch in the media, in the music, where it was Black people are against each other, we're killing each other in the streets. It's, oh, he owed me money, oh, I gotta go get him, oh, she sleeping with my homeboy. Oh, I gotta go do this now because she did that. Like, it's a bunch of violence and abuse that are now being pushed towards us. And it makes me begin to wonder, like, why are they really trying to, like, keep us down so bad? Like, I'm gonna say the system, the man. Like, why is he, the hypothetical he, trying to keep us down so bad in society when we at some point never used to think like that, even in the 70s. Like, if you go back to like the Black Panther Party, like we used to arm ourselves to fight for ourselves. It wasn't to fight each other.
I feel like music is like used against us to like set us up in a way. I feel like for music, it's the easiest way to learn anything. Like when we were children, we learned our ABCs from saying the little A, B, C, D, E, F, C, you know, the little songs. So like I say that in the sense of now they use music to push narratives or thoughts or agendas on us as a community and kind of make us accept them and allow for them to become our own things. It's kind of like our identity as black people in this country is tarnished. If we really look at the music we made or the arts that we had in Africa or when we were in Europe at the times or back in the days, we had different things that we celebrated with those musical items. We didn't like shake our butts to a beat or something like that, or we didn't go on drills to certain songs because that's the beat or the way you're supposed to be portrayed listening to it. I think a lot of the music we listen to like gives for like a fake image to be like had. I don't like that.
Dallas?
I feel, you know, you see things like Sexy Red, you see NBA YoungBoy, hottest things in the world right now in the country. You know, sold out shows, sold out stadiums. A lot of people see that and they take that as being black culture. And it's become sort of synonymous with each other. The self-destructive behaviors, the
there you go.
you know, just uncomfortable amounts of substance abuse, violence, and I think it's hard to, you know, ask other groups to have sympathy for us when that's how, you know, every time you go on Instagram, every time you go on social media, that's all you're seeing.
Right.
And I just think, and you know, you said about the hip hop earlier. You know, I love hip hop. I love hip hop culture, but I feel at that point where it started shifting from a sense of solidarity to, I want to say, you know, the rougher stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It just, I think it's done, I don't want to say irreparable, but it's done horrible damage to black people's image on a global scale.
Absolutely.
And I think that's an issue. A lot of people don't want to address that, but I feel like that is an issue we need to address going forward.
Absolutely. And now, you know, we see our favorite, you know, artists, they're getting wrapped up in these indictments now.
The RICO cases.
So, you know, I think we can decipher, you know, some of those artists that we mentioned, they make great music and, you know, they provide great energy that we may use to get us throughout our day. But at the same time, I think the media does label us as that. And, you know, we have 4 very bright individuals here sitting with you. You know, we're very educated and we offer more than just rap lyrics or touchdowns or, you know, shots at the free throw or whatever. You know, we're much more than, you know, what, you know, the media projects us to be. So I appreciate you guys. So 2 words, gang violence. As we are having a production meeting, someone in the meeting suggested that gang violence is an issue. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think gang violence is definitely an issue. I think like the exact word gang is portrayed in a wrong meaning. I think people think a gang is like a wrong brotherhood, but really it's not. It just creates separation, especially in a black community. Like if you're from a different gang, you don't like those people over there, but for some odd reason you say because I'm in a gang with him, he's my brother. But the person across the street or across the city, that's not your brother because he's not in your gang. It's weird to orient it like that, and I feel like it's a big issue in our country that gang violence exists because it allows us just to separate ourselves.
Absolutely.
I would definitely say that there is fake gangs now. There isn't like a presence of a real sense of a gang. Like even like I'll know back in history, like there was some point where like gangs used to come together and help the community. And they would protect the community. Now you have just these young boys that are carrying around guns. And I don't even just say boys, there's girls too. You have these young black people that are carrying around guns or carrying around some type of weapon or using their bodies as weapons to harm others. And it's just like, why, one, are we so angry? 2, what's going on? Like, why are we trying to create this false sense of I'm bigger, I'm badder, and no, you can't come over here to my quote unquote hood? Like, that's not what's really like
a hood that you don't
it's
even
not a hood
own.
for real. Like you don't even know what you're talking about. Like you are a baby. Like you are a literal baby. Like I'll even know back to the kids from this summer, like they talking about this. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like you're too young to even comprehend what that type of violence looks like. And if you are experiencing this type of violence at that type of age, I feel horrible for you. But even those children that grow up in that type of mindset, they don't want to stay in that. And sadly enough to say it, like there are little children that end up just being stuck and they lose the hope. But there's a lot of children that grow up in that type of environment. They want to leave out of that. They don't want to grow up in that. So I don't even understand this whole gang violence thing. Like it's fake gangs. Like fake news.
I think that's like an ego thing though. Like for us as like a community to keep provoking like gang violence, even though we know it's not right and it should be ended. I think that's like an ego thing for us to keep having it.
You know, I was about to get into that. I think it's, like you said, ego thing. It's like you have all this materialism going on right now, and everybody's obsessed with their image of self. Everybody wants to be hard. Everybody wants to, you know, say hold the gun. Everybody wants to be on Instagram with the money spreads and all that.
That's the problem. Everybody wants to be hard.
And it's just like, first off, you fighting over me over some fake Jordans.
Yeah,
Fake
exactly.
Jordans.
And then I think we don't
Rolexes.
have any, games where they have, what they call OGs or whatever. There's no OGs keeping these young kids out the streets and telling them the things that they need to hear. You need to go to school. You need to get in the books. You need to listen to your parents. You need to do the things that you need to do at home, because at the end of the day, that's what's important and that's what makes us who we are, So
Did any of y'all grow up with y'all grandparents?
Absolutely.
I feel like that plays a big role in being like just responsible and carrying yourself in this generation as well. Not a lot of people had the opportunity to grow up with someone from past times like that, like a grandparent. So
that actually lived
That
through
old school,
like
that
the racism
Grandparents
and all that.
gonna get the switch.
Yeah.
Literally.
Because why are you out there? And why are you out there past the lights turning off? Like, get inside.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what RJ mentioned earlier about there's babies raising babies. Like, the
Right.
grandparents aren't there, or the grandparents are there and they're not helping and the way that they should be helping. And also, I would say that, like, even just speaking about, like, growing up in, like, a matriarchal or a patriarchal family, like the two, like with a grandparent, like both grandparents are just
Or
one.
in the household. That's
Yeah,
right.
like there should be some type of hierarchy. And honestly, I grew up with my grandparents and my dad. So like I love that, and I'm very grateful for that, because I was able to experience a lot more of the older generation and to have a more, I wouldn't say I was super mature because I was still a kid, but like a more mature mindset, like growing up in that type of environment. And like I just knew right from wrong. And there's I feel like if I grew up with just my dad, I would know right from wrong, but there would still be things that I knew as a child I would try to get over because it was just my dad and it wasn't such like a deemed as a hierarchy. Because I do see my dad as my friend. Although I know, like, the levels of things.
Right.
I do see my dad as my friend, like, and I wouldn't have been able to take him as seriously as I did take my grandparents seriously, because they didn't play.
Absolutely. My grandparents, I was super close with my grandparents. My grandmother, she's a minister, so just having that wisdom, and just being around her, seeing her, do what she do and get her lesson plans for the Sunday, and just being around that, I think it kind of helped me. And you notice it as you get older. You probably won't notice it when you're young, but as you get older and you see people going through different situations, okay, I know not to do that, so.
I don't know about y'all, but whenever my grandfather speaks, I listen.
Of course, of course. Anytime my grandmother or grandfather speaks, you gotta
I'll be
listen.
talking forever, but I'm gonna listen.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. All right. What role, if any, does government play in violence we are seeing? This could be education, systematic racism, and creating ghettos that provide limited resources for those living there.
I've been waiting for this one. I've been waiting for this question. Okay, I would say that, because I had brought this question up when we were in class coming up with this. Okay, systemic racism has hurt us so bad, and the way that they created the ghettos has hurt us so bad. And I would say that it started in the crack epidemic. Like when the crack epidemic happened, that's when everything hit the fan, I would say, for a lot of black people, especially in the city area. Now, over in the countryside, you have violence, but it wasn't as prominent, I would say, back then as it is now today. And especially as someone growing up in the South, at least when I watched this documentary about the crack epidemic, and when it started, like, they planted that in our communities and kept us down, like, and then they started rating us and then started like painting us as this horrible type of person. Like before, when like the other races was doing coke, that was okay. But as soon as black people got into crack,
Woodstock.
it was like, oh my gosh, like
Right.
somebody call the police. Like we need to shut everybody down, especially because they were making so much money from selling that crack. They didn't like that.
Right.
And that even goes back to them keeping us in this money mindset. And that's how come a lot of these at least from what I've observed, these gun violence has happened is over money. And when we were making money, it wasn't okay for the government. So the government didn't pin us against each other over more money.
Come on now.
And it's always money. Like even going back to Fred Hampton, he was a Black Panther back then.
Mm-hmm.
When they set him up, it was over money. Like the black man took money to set up Fred Hampton to kill him. And
Malcolm X too.
it's always about money. It's never about, it's so easy for the black community to just get like hazy in the eyes when it comes to green in front of us. And it's horrible to see that just continuously affect us, even to today. That even goes back to rap culture, them showing up money in the camera and stuff like that. Like, they're teaching us to, if you have money, you can make it and you can do whatever you want and you have power. Mm-hmm. And that's not true. Us being together is what really like helps us come together. Like we are the real power, and they have constantly drilled that in our minds from young. Like if you don't have money, then you don't have it, and you need to fight to get that. And that's never what it used to be. It used to be us fighting for each other to get to these places so we can all have money.
There you go.
Sure. Systematic racism, like in our country, it was used as a tool to corrupt. I think every country is running off a system. You just have to have it. But ironically, with our country, we're in a system we didn't technically ask to be a part of. We were taken from Africa. Whether you want to sugarcoat it or not, that's what happened. And we ended up here. And from the labors of our past ancestors, we now reap the benefits from their leaps. And strives to change. We now reap the benefits from that now. But racism and the way that it's used systematically is terrible. You can see like the neighborhoods we're put in, the opportunities we get. You can see the cars that were sold even sometimes, or the dealerships that we have that sell cars. They're already ran down. You don't want to buy no car from some of the places that we have to buy cars from. Generally just do business, you know? So a lot of the things that we have to do or get are backhanded, and that's just because of the system that we're part of in this country. So that's what's up.
If you look at, there was a map that came out, it was recent in the last year or so. There was a map that said, where do most of the black people in the United States live? And the majority was still in the American South, the Southeast.
Of course.
Right where, you know, during the slave, right where they let us off.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And until black people are ready to spread out, until we are ready to create our own communities, and I don't want to say not rely on the white man, but until we are ready to rely on each other.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're going to keep going in this cycle, have the same problems.
Let me add to what you just said about like, oh, wait, okay. I'm trying to remember what you, like the last part that you just said. Like,
the cycle?
no, it wasn't the cycle. Hold on.
Relying on each other?
Yeah.
No, not relying on each other. Oh, I can't believe I lost it. You're going to have to just come back.
I think, go, you got it?
No, I can't remember right now.
Okay, no, you're fine. I think that's what keeping us in these communities, you know, these impoverished communities. It forces people to make tough decisions. You know, bills are due, and you know, people got to make decisions to feed their babies, keep the lights on, do what they got to do. And I think that's a part of the problem too. They keep us in these communities so we can take from each other and also harm each other as well.
Yes.
I remember.
You remember?
Yes, I remember now. Okay. So,
Talk to me.
You remember when we had Black Wall Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with Black Wall Street, they burned that down.
Right.
Right? They don't want to see us come together.
They don't.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years if they try and do that to Atlanta now. Like, Atlanta is almost, and to me, I would consider it Black Wall Street, or the up-and-coming Black Wall Street, because there's
Black
so
Hollywood,
many
for sure.
booming Black businesses there, and not
Absolutely.
just in Atlanta, but even Charlotte. Like,
Yes.
and they can't stop us, honestly, because we just keep growing, we keep going. But I would say the biggest thing also that's kept us down is voting. And we were talking about that also in class, like voter suppression, and how there's not enough of us that are voting. And there's not enough of us that are educated in voting or the matters that are at hand. Like we always worry about the big presidential election. We need to start worrying about our local elections, because those are the things that are really keeping us down. I feel like Georgia and South Carolina could have already been a blue state by now if we just got up and voted. Like, and I'm really heavy on local voting, because in our school district, like, they have flip-flopped everything. Our education is very poor back home. Like, it's not what it used to be, and it's because we're not voting, and there's not enough of us. There's not enough parents that care about the education that their children are getting, and a lot of them just end up back at home working at Dollar General, and it's sad. Like,
or the local plant.
And like you said, the
BMW.
with the city, like Atlanta, you said a lot of people, like people coming to Atlanta, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Columbia. They're supposed to be huge cities for black people in the next 10 years.
Yes, no, because Columbia used to be big Black Wall Street.
Oh yeah, but black people are coming back to these cities to do business.
Exactly.
And that's why in a lot of these southern states, they're trying to redraw these maps, redraw these electoral maps, so they can kind of cut us out and keep those states red.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stay in power.
Exactly.
And they don't want to count it. Like, when I was trying to vote, and I changed my address here last year, I wasn't able to vote here because they said that because it wasn't through the South Carolina government, but it was through like a program that is connected to the government. They said I wasn't allowed to vote here, and I had to go back home to vote. I don't have a car. I wasn't able to go back home to go vote, which I was very upset about, because that's why I changed my address here. So I just feel like they're always trying to make excuses to us when we are trying to vote, and every time when that comes around, they're like, "Oh no, you can't vote. Like, you gotta back up." And it's just like,
gotta be hurdles.
what? Like, it's always something.
Right. All right. So here's something that's not talked about enough in the African American community: childhood traumas, right, and mental wellness. Are we dealing with our past, and how are we trying to heal?
I don't think that we're trying to heal. I think that we're trying to pray it away. And as a very religious person myself, I do pray a lot, and that's something that growing up, like, if something was going wrong, my grandma was like, okay, let's pray about it, And it'll make me so frustrated sometimes, especially now as someone that's trying to pray about a lot of things and just get over a lot of things. I can't let it go because it's still hurting me, and I'm not able to talk about it. And I would say that that's how at least a lot of kids that grew up in the South, at least especially the Deep South, they're praying the things away, and they're not actually comprehending what happened, what went on, and fully praying it away, if that makes sense. Like, we just we telling God about it, and that's it.
Right.
We just have to go on about our day and pretend like nothing happened. Like, my dad used to tell me, like, oh, forgive them, like, you need to forgive them, God gonna be mad at you if you don't forgive them. But what about how I feel? Like, like, literally, like, okay, I forgave them, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a couple words that we're just saying out loud, and we're not really getting over it. And that's how I feel like a lot of things are going on. Like, there are children that have gone through way worse things than, like, they've been touched, they've been beaten, they've been this, that, and the third, and they just have to go to school and get on with it. Especially because there's not resources available, especially in rural communities. There's not enough Black people that want to talk about what they went through. There's families that have been touched through generations, and they're not talking about it. They don't want to talk about it, and it's just like a pat on the hand. It's like, okay, let's go pray about it. Like, what? Pray about it.
Yeah. Me personally, I think the traumas that I've been through, I wouldn't say I've all gotten over them, but they're still in progress, but they are better than they were. So amen for that.
Amen. Proud of growth.
I think we all on this couch, or whatever you want to call this set, we all believe in God at some point in time, especially now. I think everybody in our class does as well. And so what Kimora said really stuck out to me, because for us, spiritually, we have to be able to grow and able to understand that, yes, you can pray everything to God, but you also have to have some action and initiative behind what you pray for. There's a verse that says, faith without works is dead.
Come on.
So what that means is if you believe and you don't put any action into what you believe, you're just thinking. That's all you're doing. And so with what we have is trauma in our community, what we go through, the option of communication, the option of brotherhood should always be open. However, it's not. We just spoke upon that with gang violence, how some people just separate themselves or isolate themselves. And it's unfortunate that we just can't communicate about so many things. Some people don't even talk about the fact that they were molested because they just don't have the confidence or the self-esteem to. They don't want to bring that stuff up. But the open door for communication has to be there in order to overcome something like that or any type of trauma. So
Absolutely.
I think we still go through a lot, and it's not all done. But I think, like, once again, if we could just communicate about it better, it can be fixed. So.
I think that in our community, a lot of us have become desensitized to so many things. A lot of us have become desensitized to trauma itself.
Yeah.
We know black trauma sells. 50 Cent show, it was canceled the other day. Black Mafia Family. Or
BMF.
BMF, yeah. On Stars. I mean, you know, obviously the ratings aren't as good as they were when the show came out, but y'all remember how many people were talking about it. I remember how many people were watching the show.
Right.
There's a song by Tupac, Brenda's Got a Baby, if anybody's ever heard that.
Definitely.
It's a crazy song. The album has sold over 1 million records.
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry, every time. Most of his movies.
The same movie, same
Same
script,
movie,
different
almost
roles,
over and
different
over.
actresses and actors.
Black trauma sells. And it's to the point where a lot of people, it's gotten so bad, it's not just black people. They look at our communities from the outside looking in, and even from the inside, we think, oh, that's normal. Like, people think it's normal to have seen somebody get shot when they were 13. Or people think it's normal to know about 6 classmates who have died.
Right.
And it's just, that's just where we are as a society right now, unfortunately. And something's got to happen.
Yeah,
we got to
so-
start addressing these things.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
But I want to add on what Dallas said and what Carzell said. To add on what Dallas just said about how we're so desensitized to like seeing someone get shot. I sadly had to just accept to myself this homecoming like something was gonna happen, because there's always something that's happening at homecoming, and unfortunately something did happen. Like, and it was so like crazy to see. Like, that was right outside of my room. Like, I'm looking outside the window watching this all go down, and I'm just like, okay, like what do I do? How do I feel? And I feel horrible about the situation. Like, but it's just happened so much. Like, even when they have fireworks at the football game, like, I get startled. Like, all of us get startled. At least the people that are around me. We're just like, why are they shooting off fireworks right now? Knowing that like we've gone through these things, and we just think that it's normal. We just think that it's okay. And to add on what Carzell just said about like the molestation, there are so many young black boys that get molested and don't understand why they're angry later on in life, that end up picking up a gun and going to shoot somebody else.
Right.
And that is like the most heartbreaking thing to me. Like, they don't even know like that's why they're angry. Sometimes like their memories or their brain has protected them so much from that, like they can't even remember that happened to them. And like it is so like it's so heartbreaking. Like, we're not protecting our children as much as we think that we are, and we're not protecting our children from like our friends, from our uncles, from our aunts, from the grandparents, and sometimes even from the parents from themselves. Like, and it's so sad to see because it's so normal to us that like, okay, this can happen. We always want to talk about the on murder documentaries or just documentaries in general about how white people are being touched, but we're not ever talking about like our own community being touched. Like Tasiki on Baddies, she touched what's her name? Blueface girlfriend, I can't remember her name right now. Krishan outed Tasiki and was like, oh, you touched me when we were little. And she was like, what are you talking about right now?
That's her sister?
Yeah, that was her sister.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's true or not, like, that's a true scenario that's happened for a lot of people. And they just be like, what are you talking about? I never did that. Like, it was just a normal day for them.
And then imagine if you are like a celebrity and you have to deal with those childhood traumas in front of the world. You know? So that's insane. Moving on, whether it's Power, the TV series, or BMF, or video games, what role does image and media play in the rise of violence, or just more violence in society, period?
Well, then we could talk about Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
Because Tyler Perry, growing up, I love Tyler Perry movies.
Facts.
I think I loved it because it did remind me of my family. My family is just as dysfunctional, and I love that about them. Like, I end up being dysfunctional too, like, but in a good way, you know? So being able to see that, like, it was good to see someone that looked like me and almost was going through the same things as me. But like, if you really look at his movies, it has kept us so stuck. Like, we are not moving at all. We're not moving forward. And I would even say, like, to the video games, and I don't play gun violence video games. I play more like, you know, fighting games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter type
That's
of
violence.
type of violence. That's violence. But like, now when we talking about like shooter, like point, what is it, shooter point? Whatever they call it, the first person shooter type of games, those aren't helping us. Like, I remember watching the movie about the high school that I got shot up. I really wish I could remember the name of the high school right now.
So many.
Parkland.
Yeah, the park. No.
Columbine.
Yeah, the Combine.
Columbine.
The Columbine one.
That happened, like,
They were
early
playing the
2000s,
video
90s,
game
99.
90s, yeah.
in the movie that I was watching, and it was a first-person shooter game. I think it was Call of Duty. I'm gonna say it.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
And that is like teaching us how to shoot. That's influencing all of us, not just black children, like every child. These type of games aren't really helping us, especially because they're not monitoring them. Like my nephews, they 10 years old, 10, like 7 to 10. That's how all three of them are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they trying to shoot me with their little Nerf gun. What is you doing? Put that little gun out. And it's the way that they're shooting at me. And it's just like, that's not okay.
It's crazy that you say that because my dad, he was in the military, and even Nerf guns, the little pool little guns or whatever, he wasn't going for none of that.
That's not
My dad,
okay.
listen, my dad was not playing when it comes to like those type of like, you know, toys. Yeah. My dad wasn't going for that. So, Dallas, what you think? How you feel about how media and video games have impacted the community?
Movies like you got Harlem Nights, you got the gangster movies, you got Casino, Scarface, all those.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got them. Every culture has depictions of violence. It's not just us. We're the most sensationalized though.
No, facts.
Yeah.
We just happen to sell more
Monetary.
when it's us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing. That's created so many jobs for so many black creators, black artists, black people. You can millions and millions of jobs, and generational wealth has been created through media and portrayals of violence. And at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, is this helping us or hurting us? Because of course it's entertainment, and but like I said earlier, a 12-year-old watching Scarface is going to take that differently than a 20-year-old watching Scarface.
For sure.
So, I mean, we have to ask ourselves, is it worth it?
Absolutely.
Definitely, I don't think it's worth it at all. I don't think it's worth it. I think for the music that we listen to, the movies that we watch, they're all portrayed just to push out a negative connotation, so that we can accept it and then push out eventually negative in our own ways. I think a lot of the times, like with media, I don't know if y'all are into like conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but I've heard a lot of things of celebrities doing some evil things and worshiping a lot of evil entities. And then coming on the movies and then us watching it as a mass, and not knowing what they may have done.
Like a ritual or something.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so just something as small as that, as an example, if you watch something that someone has done evil things in, you may pick up on some of those things, and it may start to translate in your own life, unfortunately. I just think that my own life, the stuff that I watch is all informational. Everything I watch, I try to learn something from it. So I know the media and how they use music, it's just to push negative out, unfortunately.
Get out what you put in.
Yeah, you know what you put in.
Absolutely. As we are wrapping up this discussion, are there any last thoughts, and how can we move forward as young people and possibly the leaders of today?
Excuse me. I feel like there's a rise in just young people not going for a lot of the BS.
For sure.
And a lot of young people are educating themselves. And I think, getting older, a lot of people getting into more, spiritual, a lot of religions going up in this generation.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good sign. young people can just get involved in the communities, vote, of course. If there's a protest, go. In your area, go. Record and, you know, use your voice. And there's just so many things you can do today to be a leader in your community, especially with the internet, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everything. So that's just, I think we're heading in a good direction.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to keep heading in that direction.
I think we all gotta be, as a black community, gotta be willing to learn in order to be leaders. I feel like in order to be a teacher, you have to have been taught at some point before. So we all gotta be able to put our pride to the side as a community and say, you know what, I'm gonna listen. Because sometimes listening is the best way to respond to a lot of things that we face. I think also, another thing I wanted to bring up was just like being financially smart with the things that you obtain. I know like a city like Atlanta was brought up. A lot of people got money in Atlanta. And I'm sure if a lot of us was able to experience that, we might handle that money wrong. I feel like in our community, I think we talked about it earlier where like the attention on just having green, that narrative is just so bad and tarnished. So I think we need to be financially responsible. So that's what I want to bring up too.
Even people that get that attention with that money is getting the wrong type of attention.
Yeah.
You doing this to, you know, flaunt on the internet, but at the end of the day, what's the purpose of that? Like, you know, you got people that might not be so happy with you and, you know, might want to take something from you. So, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know,
everybody want to be the man.
What's the point? Exactly.
I would like to add, I think that we just need to have a lot more, I think that we, as young people, need to start mentoring the youth now. And we need to start just talking with them, being with them, because like I said, what I was able to experience this summer, it was a very eye-opening experience that like we are probably going backwards with these next generation of children. Like they are horrible to each other, honestly, and it was so sad to see, like, because I love those kids that I was able to meet, but like some of them, I just think maybe they just need maybe a mentor program. Maybe we need to start making those a lot more in these communities. And I especially think that younger black men should start going to be mentors as well, because at some point you two are going to heal each other. And I would say that those kids also healed me, as I hopefully was able to heal them as well, or give them some type of advice. And thankfully I do get to see them this weekend, so I'm really excited about that. Like, it's youth day this weekend at the game. And I would say another thing that I would say that we need to get out and vote, and I would say that we need to get out and start putting our own selves in these offices. It needs to start being more people that look like us in these spaces, so that way we can create a better change. And also people that came from these backgrounds and came from these type of communities that need to start stepping up and making a change, because we are the change, we are the future. We keep having these old people dictate us and what's going to be next for us, and that needs to stop immediately.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, I want to thank this panel for helping us explore the topic of young people and gun violence. You're watching BNN's class discussion. Have a great day.